Hi, everybody. It's episode 488 of PodQuest.
Hi.
Hey. It is Wednesday, December 20th, 2023. I am Chris. With me is Droo.
Hello.
And Walnut.
Yeah, I'm here.
It's almost Christmas.
It is. Are you guys ready for Christmas?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, like, stuff has been purchased. Like, there's a few items that still need to get wrapped, like, for, like, other people. And we have, like, one box that we have to send out because the thing just finally arrived today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, otherwise we're mostly set. Probably, like, Friday I have to go to the grocery store to pick up stuff for, like, dinner, but that's about it.
I did the last of my shopping yesterday for my nieces, and everything should be here by Friday.
Nice.
So, then all I have to do is wrap everything, which I want to do.
Yeah, wrapping's, like, I don't mind wrapping, but I'm very bad at it. So it's one of those, like, this is time-consuming, and it looks bad.
Yeah, I don't care about wrapping, so, like, for kids' birthdays, I usually do bags. For birthdays in general, I usually do bags. I'm considering because a lot of my gifts might be a little bit smaller, I might go out and get more bags than wrapping, because I'm like, what? There's no point in wrapping this little thing here and that little thing there. I don't know, I'll do this, or I'll do something else with it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, usually
but I hate wrapping gifts.
We usually do the same. Like Christmas is kind of the only time that things get wrapped, unless it's something big enough that, like, we can't fit it in a reasonable size bag.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like most other, like, birthdays, stuff like that, yeah, bags.
Yeah.
So
like,
much easier.
Christmas, I'll make sure to wrap my niece's gifts and any kid gifts, because that's, like, it's all about them opening gifts and how excited they are. But everyone else, it's like, maybe just bags, because I don't care.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But yeah, anyway, how are you guys doing?
Doing all right.
I'm tired.
I am too. I spent a lot of time moving switches and untangling cables today.
I've basically been tired since my cooking stream on Friday, and, like, I was so tired that on Saturday or Sunday I ended up taking a nap and not doing any of the things that I've needed to do, like, edit the videos, to the point where I edited today's video yesterday.
Good job. Hey, at least you got it done. At least you got it done a day before it was due.
Yeah.
You weren't, like, sitting at your computer editing it this morning trying to post it.
No, but I didn't. I forgot to upload it last night, so I had to upload it this morning and just cross my fingers that it was going to be HD ready by the time, by noon.
Do you, like, schedule your stuff?
I usually do. I usually, so my goal is to be, 2 weeks ahead. So, like, generally, for instance, tonight, after we're done recording, I am going to potentially record the next two, which would come out on the 3rd of January and the 5th of January. So I have Fridays recorded, I have the 27th and the 29th recorded, none of them are edited though. And so I usually try to, like, if I were to record today, I would edit Friday or Saturday for the 3rd and the 5th. That's usually what I go for. And then pre-PAX, I had everything recorded and edited up until last Friday, like, before Thanksgiving. Because, like, with Thanksgiving and PAX and things like that, I also didn't have to do any work for a week and a half, so it made that easier
true.
as well.
I forgot you had that fun week.
Yeah, so, like, it was easier to do the editing and things like that. But it was, like, I didn't do any editing. I didn't have to do any editing or recording through last Friday. And like, luckily that was good, because I had just been so drained to where I haven't been able to, like, focus on sitting down and doing the edits, or been so busy throughout the weekends. Luckily this weekend, relatively not busy, that I can get any editing done. So, we'll see what I decide to do. I think I am in the mood to play games and not edit, so I'll probably edit Friday's video tomorrow after work, since it's usually a later stream on 7:30 on Thursdays instead of 7.
Yeah, we made the mistake of being too busy this upcoming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have concerts on Friday and Saturday, then we have to go to brunch on Sunday with Erica's family, and then Christmas on Monday. It's like,
yeah.
What were we thinking?
I might have a brunch. I think I have brunch on Saturday. That's it. And I'm like, that's good, because I've been literally since PAX on, I feel like I've just been, not even though, like PAX was busy, and then the weekend after wasn't, but I just like I was just exhausted and drained and just felt dead and defeated. So I did nothing that weekend, the weekend of the 9th and 10th, and then last weekend I did cookies on Friday. I went and spent time with my cousin on Saturday and was at his place most of the day. So like when I got home, I was just tired. And then Sunday, I had a brunch and then took a nap before stream because I was just like, I'm out of it. I'm so out of it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
This is unrelated, but I just noticed I had a work email. Somebody just responded all to an everyone email from our HR person.
Oh my goodness.
Asking about floating holidays for next year. Because we do you can have Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, or Juneteenth are like our 3 floating holidays. Yeah. And generally you just respond to our HR person and let them know which one you want. This guy, I don't think it was intentional because he's not new, but like responded all. So now everybody knows that he would like President's Day off, or no, Martin Luther King Day. Everyone in the company knows that he would like Martin Luther King Day off.
I can see doing that by accident. I've never done it by accident, but usually when I'm like replying to an email, if you Control-Shift-R is reply all, I believe, and that's usually what I do to reply to an email, because most of my emails I have to reply to all anyway. So like I can understand just accidentally being like Control-Shift-R, I want this day off.
I get it. It happens. It's just funny that it happened to be in everyone in the company email.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, we have, like, other distribution lists. Like, there's, like, just consultants. There's our knock. Like, you know, there's a bunch of different times that could have happened, and it just happened to be on the... Yeah, no, every single person in the company now knows what day you want off.
Yeah. I had, this is getting into the weeds, but it's a good story. I had a meeting yesterday. My start time for work is 8 o'clock. I had a meeting at 8 o'clock yesterday.
You were late for it, weren't you?
I was late for it because I was late for work, but it's fine. It wasn't like an attendance taken meeting, and it wasn't a meeting I was going to actually respond to. You want to know what the meeting was? It was the head of the company talking about the security incident and how like giving us the information on what happened and what's going on forward and this and that and the other thing. That could have been an email. Was a mandatory meeting company-wide for everyone at either 8 o'clock or 1 o'clock yesterday.
Wait, and so he did the same meeting twice? Or was it like a recorded meeting?
He did the same... unless they recorded the first one and then just played it for everyone later on. He did the same meeting twice. And it could have just been... It is the epitome of this could have just been an email. Or they could have pre-recorded something and put it on our training center to just go watch the video and listen to it on the background or something like that.
Man, companies are stupid.
Yeah.
Just all of them. But,
yeah.
Rich, what is on the agenda?
So, real quick, there was a leak from Insomniac because there was a hacker or a group of hackers who were ransomwaring them for $50 million, or no, it was $2 million. But it was 50 Bitcoin is what it was. Fucking Bitcoin.
Oh, yeah.
50 Bitcoin, $2 million. That makes me so mad. So yeah, there was that. Me and Timmy were able to complete on streams all of the We Were Here series 100%. So we're going to talk about that. We've talked about it a little bit in Fest. I had my spooky stream for November subs yesterday, and I played a new game called Tattletail. It's a Christmas-based spooky game. It's very interesting. And Cobb finished the Gentleman Bastard series.
Yeah, that is an agenda. So, how much have you guys seen about the Insomniac leak and everything?
Only the headline and a very little bit of information.
The headline of the article I shared on my Discord.
Okay. So I don't want to talk about what was leaked because, frankly, the way, and I saw a bunch of people on Twitter actually kind of shitting on like IGN and Polygon and a few other places. A lot of media sites were really like reporting on like, hey, here's all the stuff we found out from this leak. That also included every employee's fucking personal information.
Jeez.
So
Like, did they actively just share so they doxed the employees?
Yeah, like so this hacker group gave Sony and Insomniac 7 days to give them $2 million, or they would leak the 2 terabytes worth of data they got off of the Insomniac servers that included game data, game media, and employee data.
Yeah.
And they leaked all of it. Or they leaked a good chunk of it. It was not all of it, which means that it's quite possible that they sold some of the other information to other shitty people. But yeah, so game dates were released. What's the word I'm looking for? Pre-art.
Concept art?
Yeah, concept art. Thank you. For stuff things that should not have been public were released in this, and that's what a lot of outlets were reporting on. But then you had actual information from employees. I did not dig into it because I don't want to know what stuff is floating around out there for these people. But I'm sure names, job titles, possibly phone numbers or addresses. There's a lot of potential data. Look what happened with the E3 leaks in, I want to say that was 2019, maybe 2018. Probably 2018 because it was not the last E3 where they just literally put up the directory that had everyone's phone number on it. And it's what the fuck, guys? But this wasn't just this wasn't a company or somebody getting game data and leaking it. It was blackmail and extortion, and then potentially actually putting people's lives in danger because people on the internet are fucking out of their goddamn minds. Look how many game developers get death threats just because somebody doesn't I'm sure Insomniac got death threats because they had Miles in their game. And there's some douchebag out there who doesn't think that there should be a black Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This just sucks. It sucks for them personally because, their data's out there. And it also sucks for them professionally because, they work hard on this stuff. Whether the game comes out good or not. They spend a lot of time and energy and dedicate a lot of their lives to making this stuff for just a bunch of shitheads in their parents' basements to throw it all up on the internet because a multi-billion-dollar company didn't give a shit. And what made them think a Japanese company was going to fucking give them money? I don't know. The whole thing is very, very shitty.
Yeah, I'm reading through some of the article that I shared on my Discord of some of the stuff that was leaked and some of the things that were shown. The release slate up to 2033, which I'm just right now you're giving us the release slate up to 10 years from now. Jesus.
Yeah, and it's no one knows if there's no way to know if that's real. There's no way to know how real that even is to Insomniac. If that is off of their servers, that might not even be what that really is. That might just be a person's a studio, a department head's part of their PowerPoint presentation. It's all right, here is where I see us going over the next 10 years based on the things we have pitched.
Yeah.
Sure, every game on there seems plausible, but also until they're announced, they're not real. And something 10 years away, maybe it's pre-development, but frankly, Insomniac's a fucking tank of a studio. They don't need that long to make games.
No.
They're big enough and have enough teams going that they pump out games in 3 to 5 years, maximum. And even with Miles, they did Miles in 2 years because they were able to take the already good assets they had and just build on it. And they added new locations that we didn't have before. They made a new story. They introduced some new character designs and all. But that was a lot to do in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the 5 years is not unreasonable for them. But who knows? Who knows what those games actually are, or if they're real?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's was already said. It's things that they have thoughts on. Okay, we could go this way, but something from 10 years, there's an equal chance the thing never exists, as it does.
Yeah.
Even if it gets announced. So many games get announced and then never happen. So
yeah, what was Insomniac's other franchise? It was Ratchet and Clank, and then, was it Resistance?
No, Uncharted was Naughty Dog, wasn't it?
Yeah, Uncharted is Naughty Dog. Jak and Daxter is also Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
Did Insomniac do Resistance?
I think so.
Like, I know that whole franchise has been dead since... Yep, that was Insomniac. Since I want to say PS4? Like, wasn't the last one PS4? Or am I thinking of the other one? Because there was another, first-person shooter in that era.
No. Are you thinking, I turned around to look at it and I can't find it now.
Yeah, there was a PS4
Killzone.
launch game.
Are you thinking
Oh,
Killzone?
yeah, I was thinking of Killzone.
Killzone was PS4.
Yeah, it looks like
the last
Resistance only exists on PS3. So, like, you know, like, who's to say that, like, in the next 10 years, like, 3 years from now, maybe Insomniac goes, oh, we have a great idea for a Resistance game. Like, let's release that in 2030 instead of whatever was on that fucking list. Like, like, shit changes. Like,
yeah.
Maybe a game is not developing well and they decide to scrap it. Like, until it's announced, it doesn't really count, especially for a studio of that size, because they, you know, if Spider-Man is, like, doing super well and they need to, like, pump out, like, patches for it, they might, you know, pull people off of another game. It's like, hey, we need extra hands over here. Please come help. Only there's no please because they're a company. It's just, hey, come help.
Yeah, hey, drop what you're doing. We need this. And the one thing that, like, in this article from IGN that I'm reading, that apparently Cyber Daily, I guess, spoke to somebody who was part of the hacking group, straight up said, like, money was their only motivation.
Yeah.
And they said, yes, we knew who we were attacking. We knew that developers making games like this would be an easy target. We were able to get domain administrator within 20 to 25 minutes of hacking their network.
Wow.
Sony has launched an investigation, but it would be better in their backyard. In the backyard. I don't know who this person was that they were talking to. Cyber Daily published a statement attributed to a Riceta spokesperson. So maybe it's the company who they're hiring to investigate. But, like, apparently it only took 20 to 25 minutes for them to actually get in. So it's like, don't you think these companies would be a little bit more secure? But also, my company just got hacked and we're a bank. So you never know.
Yeah, and I mean, like that's the thing. Like, a lot of times, like, the bigger companies are not as secure as they should be.
Yeah, I'm 100% convinced that at least with my company, it wasn't even it was just a phishing scheme that somebody clicked a link for.
Yeah, I mean,
whereas
that's almost always what it is.
Yeah,
like something like that happens, and so the thing with that stuff, a way a lot of those sort of things work is when somebody gets access to, like, your account, they don't do anything. They literally just lurk in your account for a while to try and see how you communicate and who you communicate with. Because the idea is they get access to your account, they find out who your boss is, they get access to they kind of like work their way up the chain as high as they can go, and then, like, work from there. And, like, if they're looking for money, if it's just email based, like, sometimes they will just, like, get as high as they can get and then ask for money, basically. Like, they'll try and get somebody in, like, a management or, like, accounting position to, like, approve, like, a money transfer or, like, a payroll update. Like, I had one of my clients, actually, because they don't fucking listen, like, months ago, they had, like, and, like, this is totally on them. They had somebody email them with a non-company email address that just simply had the display name as a person that works there. And we've told them for years now that we should turn on anti-spoofing, but they have people that like to use their personal accounts, so they won't let us do that. And
that's dumb.
Yeah. No, I agree. But, like, you know, like, we tell them what to do, and they choose not to do it. But somebody made, like, a fake email. The email didn't even have the person's name. The email was, like, gibberish@gmail.com. It was just the display name. Asking for them to change this person's direct deposit to, like, a different account. And they processed it. And it apparently took 3 months before the person said anything. Which is its own bag of issues, that this person just didn't mention they weren't getting paychecks for 3 months.
Right.
My thing is, I wish I could survive 3 months without getting paychecks.
Yeah. Well, they were, like, an upper manager, so that they probably just make enough that, like, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, it was a big deal, but, like, they weren't living paycheck to paycheck like everybody else in the world.
It took them 3 months to realize, oh, shit, my pay hasn't been coming in. Or they probably a manager for a bunch of other... They're probably higher up in a bunch of other companies and get paid from a bunch of other ways. And
No, like, they only work for this one company. Like,
That's that must be nice.
yeah, right. But yeah, like stuff like that is just shitty. Like, I wish, like, I wish these hackers would like get some sort of fucking morality and like go after the actual shitty people. Like, go fucking hack Trump.
Yeah, seriously.
Like,
I mean, he's probably a lot easier to hack than. I mean, this company, Insomniac, only took 25 minutes, but like, I'm sure Trump is. You can hack him, no problem. Hey, you want a free cheeseburger? There you go. You're in his email.
yeah, just like, send him an email claiming to be Ronald McDonald.
Exactly.
But yeah, this whole thing was just very shitty, and I like legitimately hope that like nothing too personal for the employees was leaked, and anything that was leaked is easily like changed, like phone numbers and whatnot. Like I hope like there weren't like social security numbers, things like that, and I hope nobody like finds themselves in like any sort of like danger of like threats and stuff like that from just shitty people on the internet who will do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But on a less dour note, Rich, how's this We Were Here?
So,
well, actually, real quick, I just want to tell you this. So you sent that message earlier.
Yes.
And I read it 4 times before I understood what you meant.
So let's read the message I sent.
Yeah, it's not even like you said it in a bad way. It's just I read it, and like I'm just like, I don't understand what the fuck this says. And I read it again, and then I read it a 3rd time, and I'm like, I don't understand what you mean. Like, where were we? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then it finally clicked. It's like, oh, these are those games he's been playing.
Yeah, I should have capitalized something somewhere. Like, that is a little on me, but maybe you should pay attention to the things I do, Cobb. Come on now.
That's not fun.
But yeah, so the We Were Here series, I've talked about the first and second one, We Were Here, and We Were Here 2. I might have briefly talked about We Were Here together. However, me and Tim finally finished the last 2 that came out. It took us pretty much all of November, or most of November, to get through We Were Here Forever, which was the last one that they, the last official full game that they released. And then recently they released We Were Here Expeditions, The Friendship, which is it seems to be like an episodic style game where they're gonna release the next 2, and they actually gave it away for free for a weekend. So if you got it that weekend on Steam for free, you own it. These games, if you don't recall, if you don't know anything about them, they are asymmetric puzzle games. So you have to play co-op with one other person, and you have to communicate between you and the other person what you see, who sees what, and try to figure out the puzzles and what you're trying to do with these puzzles and where you're trying to go and things like that. So like some of the puzzles could be as simple as I remember in one of the earlier ones. You have a bunch of candles. You have like 10 or you have like 6 candles, and there's an order you have to turn them on, and it'll tell you the order or something. One person has a book that tells the order and has to tell you like turn on the candle at this spot and that spot, and boom, boom, boom. Some of the more memorable puzzles, there was a teleportation puzzle in We Were Here Forever where you were on opposite ends of a room, and I had certain color switches and they had certain colored switches, and you would have to flip the switch representing the color so that you could reach a certain area to take a teleporter to another area, and the teleporters were numbered, so 7s and 7s went teleported with each other, and so on and so forth. But it would be like you'd have to look back and forth and be like, all right, well, I need to flip my switch so that I can get up here, but you need to have your switch on, so you needed to communicate and figure out which switch was where. There was another one where you were basically, the best way to put it, you were in maybe it was more of a 12, I think it was a 12-sided die. You were inside of a 12-sided die. But you were in like on a platform, and you could see a couple of other platforms, and you needed to turn your entire platform to show like a door with a doorway representing the next platform that you want to go to that also matches. And it's hard to explain here, also because it's been a few weeks since we've actually did some of these puzzles. Last week We Were Here Expeditions, The Friendship, which was the first of the 3-parter for the Expeditions game. And that one, to me, was a little bit more entertaining in a replayability aspect, because it's straight up. Some of the puzzles, at least, can be a little bit more random in that one because it's just 3 quick puzzles, 4 really technically, but it's 3 quick puzzles. And what it is, the essence of Expeditions is you find an abandoned amusement park out in the snow, and you go explore this abandoned amusement park, and you have to you basically take a tunnel of love ride, and you have to build up your friendship ship by completing the puzzles and communicating with each other what you see. So the first puzzle you see, the person on one side will see just a mannequin doing a motion, like acting surprised or scared or something like that. And they would have to tell you, and then on the next to them, you would see a bunch of different symbols. The person on the other end sees just the mannequins, like 4 different mannequins making 4 different motions, and for a symbol for each of them. And so you would have to tell them what the mannequin's doing. They would have to tell you what the symbol is. And so then you have to come up with like a shorthand for some of these symbols, because in order to get 100% of the game, you need to 3-star each of the puzzles. And so you need to go quick and very rapid, because some of them, there's like 2 or 3 different actual switches you have to hit each time, where the timer runs faster the longer you're doing it. So it's like at one point it was like Jesus fish with eye, Jesus fish like this, or person legs crossed and things like that. We have to get like a little bit of a shorthand for it.
These games seem weird.
They're really fun. Like, I'll be 100% honest, Cobb. Like, if you had another Steam Deck, you and Erica should play these games together. Like, they're great because it's like, it's communication. It's really fun to play with your partner or with somebody that you're good friends with. Don't play with you can't even just play with random people. And the first game of the series, We Were Here, is free, flat out, straight up free. So you can play that, and that has some really good puzzles. Like, I feel like the puzzles have gotten progressively more interesting and harder as you progressed forward. The second puzzle in We Were Here Expeditions Friendship, was it the second puzzle or was it the third? It might have been the third puzzle. It was the third puzzle. One person went into basically a funhouse, and one person stayed out. And the person who went into the funhouse gets sprayed with a mist that then basically messes with their view. So the first thing that you do, you walk up, you see a lighthouse, you flip a switch, you turn the corner, and where there's an opening for you to go forward, it just is a path that drops. But the person who didn't get sprayed is overlooking and sees a path and then has to explain to you, walk forward until a certain point, turn to the left, go up, hit the switch, turn around, come back to a certain point, turn it and you have to explain, here's the timing for this, when to jump here, when to jump there. There was a puzzle in that sequence that, you would have to, every time you jumped, platforms moved. And the player who had good vision could see lights lighting up, indicating which way the platform was going to move. The player who didn't have good vision couldn't see the lights light up, so you would have to communicate. All right, this is going to move. Jump to your left. Jump to your forward. Jump to your and the next one.
So you're doing the hokey pokey.
Pretty much. The next one, I'm trying to remember how it looked on the person who was drunk's side, or the person who was blinded side. I think there was just a hill that you had to climb up, and there were waves on the hill as a tidal wave was coming at you, and the person who could see properly would have to tell you which one has the waves and which one don't. Or basically which one doesn't have the waves, because that's the way you would have to take to walk up. Whereas the person who eyes are messed up only sees 3 waves coming down, and so you have to walk around it. There's another one with swinging hammers where you don't see the hammer swinging. And then the last one was a zigzagging snake-like trail that you had to walk across without being able to see the platform below you. All the while, a boat was chasing behind you slowly.
Like a serial killer? Or like a slasher movie?
Yeah, so you had to be faster than the boat to not get knocked off from the boat, but you also had to be slow enough to where your communication was the same, so that you weren't walking off the ledge. And all this whole time, you need to hit all of the buttons of these lighthouses to get the high score. So, like, they have some really cool, interesting mechanics. We Were Here Forever. There was one mechanic we did not like, and it was in We Were Here Forever. And there was a sequence where you go down underwater, and there's, like, a kraken that, like, grabs your submersible. And one of you is in the front cockpit room. The other one is in the back room. And they would have to... The kraken would, quote, say something by making a noise and having its eye show an image. And you would have to then communicate the noise of the kraken back to your friend so that they would be able to figure out the first part of the word they're saying, the kraken was saying, and then communicate the image that his eye is saying to put together the question that the kraken is saying. And that was probably, I believe, the only puzzle in the entire series where we turned around and just went online and got the answers. Because I didn't know that it was making a different noise every time it was talking. It was we were only recognizing that it was giving him one image, one part of a word. And then he didn't know that my machine that I had was making noises every time I pulled a lever, indicating different symbol. So, like, we didn't really communicate that well, but it was just like, it doesn't make sense that, like, the person in the back can't hear the word that the kraken is saying.
Okay.
Like, that's the dumb part. Because then it would be, because the words weren't, like, actual words. It wouldn't be like, the kraken is saying blue, or anything like that. It would be like, or some stupid noises like that. Like, grunts and like, whale noises and things like that you would have to try to communicate. And it's just, that was the only puzzle that, to me, I was like, this doesn't work.
You're just shrugging like, this, I don't get it.
Yeah, like this, even knowing how it works, the communication required to know, like, what the noise was being made, and to figure that out, just to me, I was like, this is too much. It's too much. It's too ridiculous.
You guys should play Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
That has been an idea to play that as like a group stream or something. I don't really know how I would do it, but it's been something I've been wanting to try.
Well, one of you prints out the instruction manual.
Well, yeah, but then he wouldn't, like, he can't watch my stream if we're doing that.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Or if he were the one who's the bomb diffuser, my stream only sees me looking through papers.
Yeah, I guess what you'd end up having to do is probably like have him on Discord, like a call with you so he can see you but not see your gameplay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it was. And like, if he wanted to be the bomb diffuser, he would have to stream his gameplay to me on Discord, which is what we did every time we played. Since it's asymmetric and like you were seeing different things, I shared his screen and what he would see. So if there were points where I'm just staring at a wall because like I'm giving him instructions, I would switch my stream to show what he's seeing, so that like they could see a little bit more and it's a little bit more exciting. So like I'd have him stream what he sees over to my stream, and then I'd share it on Twitch. But then it's still like I'm sitting there, I'd just be sitting there flipping through papers. We wouldn't be able to like see my stream the entire time.
I mean, you could have your stream, instead of having physical printout of the manual, you could just have like the PDF version of the manual up on your stream as you're going back and forth through pages, so people can see what you're trying to figure out.
I can't process that information that fast. It would be easy, like I wouldn't be able to read it that fast in a game like that. I would need it in front of me on a piece of paper to be able to actually scout through each page and figure out what the pages are and what I need to see. Like, I wouldn't be able to read it that fast on my computer. So, like, I could do that, but then that's me managing to figure out what page I'm looking at, and then changing that on my monitor. But no, we have a couple of games that we're lined up that we're gonna play in the near future when it comes to these co-op games. What's it called? Like Two Brothers or something. It's like the prison one.
Oh yeah. It's by the same company that did the prison game.
Well, it is the prison game, whatever the prison game was.
Oh no, No Way Out or A Way Out or something like that.
A Way Out, yeah. So
so there's literally a game called Two Brothers also.
Yeah. So we're gonna do A Way Out next time. I'm giving him a Christmas break and a little bit of a break. I also recently got It Takes Two that he has no interest in playing, but I also purchased it for someone else that I asked them if they want to play it with me. So just gotta work out scheduling, and plus I have a million RPGs I have to play, so I'm fine just taking a break from co-op games to focus on these long-ass games.
Yeah, you do keep playing a lot of games.
I mean, people keep requesting me to play games, and they request me to play long games.
It's all a ruse. They're like, this guy doesn't really like doing this.
Look, I don't mind it. I mean, like, for instance, when it comes to Baldur's Gate, at least, I wasn't requested to play that, but it was bought for me, so I was like, oh, I have to play it. I was going to wait a little bit longer to pick it up. And then Shenmue was requested, and so was the new Star Ocean game was requested. Which I'm like,
that's
I'm
right.
interested
I
to
keep
play.
forgetting you have the Star Ocean. Like I remember Shenmue.
Yeah, I'm interested in Star Ocean for sure. Like, I think that art style is really good, and it's a remake of an older game, so like might not be as long. It's still gonna be long, but might not be as long as the other Star Ocean. But no, I might put a hold on that redemption for a bit. If one other person wanted to redeem a game, but it was going to be a first-person shooter. But I might put a pause on that redemption for a bit, just to be like, all right, once I'm done this, there might be a bunch of games I want to play. But to be honest, I don't really know what I want to play right now. So I'm glad people are giving me game suggestions.
I give you suggestions, and you always say no.
Well, you got to redeem them. There's a channel point redemption for that.
That's rude.
Why is it rude?
Because it just is.
I can't give you special treatment just because I know you.
I mean, you could.
I can't, because then I have to give everyone special treatment.
You don't. Like, you don't have to. So here's the thing. You do not have to give me credit for playing the game. I'm not looking for credit. I'm just looking to give you games to play.
All the games...
I'm looking to help you make content.
But all the games you are suggesting me to play are games I have zero interest
in. You gotta fucking play Shenmue.
That's because somebody literally watched for 30 hours and said, "Hey, I want you to play Shenmue."
Yeah. Like, it's I've done the math. I think it's about 2 months worth of stream viewing. If you watch every day and are not active in chat and just sit there and watch every time I stream, it's about 2 months worth, give or take, of points.
Yeah, which I understand that. I can understand even if somebody asks you to play a game that you're not interested in, if they have devoted that amount of time, 100%. Or or if they've also bought it for you, which I know has happened in a couple of instances.
Yeah.
No, you know what? That is the right thing to do. Play that game. But also, if I'm hey man, you should play this game because it'll be good content, fucking trust me.
But if I don't want to play the game,
well, you just said you don't know what you want to play. So if I'm giving you suggestions, I'm helping.
But if it's a game I have zero interest in,
I'm like an executive producer.
No. I don't know how that. I don't know. That doesn't work. You're not giving me any money to do this.
That's not how executive producers work. You give me money.
No, producers give money.
No, producers do. Executive producers just help you with the content.
Executive producers are also part money paying for stuff.
Not always.
Technically, the viewer welfare is more of an executive producer than you are, because he's bought me 2 games, and I've only played one of them on stream.
I've given you multiple Twitch subs.
But then that means everyone who subs is an executive producer.
Exactly.
And so why would I give you special treatment over everyone else?
Why wouldn't?
Because you're the same as everyone else who's there, and they use the channel points in order to redeem me to play games.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. I just want to be hey man, you should play Super Mario Brothers 2.
I don't want to play Super Mario Brothers 2. I don't like retro games. I force myself to play retro games.
But you're gonna play Shenmue, a retro game.
It's
not according to his definition.
I don't think that's retro. I will counter-argue this. I don't think Shenmue is retro. It's an old game, yes, but it's not retro. I don't go beyond Genesis. and SNES when it comes to retro. Like anything that is a disc from the disc era or later is not retro to me.
I mean, there's discs on the Sega CD.
Sega CD, disc. But I said Genesis. I didn't say Sega CD. But I've
Sega CD is the same age, or 1 year newer.
Yeah, they're the same generation because the Sega CD was an add-on to the Genesis.
Yeah, you couldn't play a Sega CD without a Genesis.
But I've also never seen a Sega CD or know what games are on Sega CD. None of the retro games that I play are Sega CD games.
All right, we're gonna make them play. What is it, Snatcher? Is that the one, Cobb?
You mean Night something?
Oh, Night Trap.
Yeah, there we go.
Snatcher's the Kojima Sega CD game.
Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about the one with the girls and the vampires.
No, that is the one I was trying to think of, but I always confused those two. Because the fucking Night Trap should be called Snatcher.
Didn't Night Trap get re-released on Steam not too long ago?
Yeah.
There you go, Rich. Play Night Trap. Let us know if that counts as a retro game because it came out in that era. Do you know what? You probably don't know what Night Trap is.
I am not playing this game.
Oh, did you look it up?
I had a feeling I knew what it was. I've seen it in the past. But yeah, I did look it up. I'm not playing this. Just no.
What if Droo redeems channel points?
I will refund the channel points.
Can you do that?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I will deny the redemption request, and you'll get your points back. There are limits, and like a game like this, I don't know. Maybe I'll play it. I don't know. Probably not. Like there are limits to what I'm accepting, what I will play, especially when it's like the 10,000 point redemption, because like there's a lot of points in there, and if you're asking me to play a game that I know I'm not gonna have a good time with, and so I don't want to play it, I'm probably going to be like, I have zero interest. Like I'm willing to give Shenmue a shot because I've heard good things about it in the past. I've heard good things about it.
Who's ever said anything good about Shenmue?
In 1999, people really fucking liked Shenmue.
Did they though?
They did because it was groundbreaking for the time.
Then why did it literally kill Sega? At least as a console manufacturer.
Well, because the game cost too much to make.
And nobody bought it.
Well, to be fair, nobody bought a Dreamcast was actually the bigger problem.
Also fair, but... But even the people that did buy Dreamcasts didn't buy Shenmue.
Look, the original Shenmue, 67 on Metacritic.
Oh.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. This is in reverse order. Shenmue 3 is a 67. Shenmue, 88. Shenmue 2, 80. So yeah, they are well-received games. They didn't age well is the problem.
Yeah.
Like they're not fun to play in 2023. But like in 2000, like they had interesting mechanics, like it was a different type of game, like you didn't see stuff like that, and the graphics for the year 2000 were incredible because the Dreamcast was actually a solid platform. Like it had a game with a talking fish, right? Voiced by Leonard Nimoy, if I remember correctly, right?
Uh-huh.
And out of the 1,700 all-time reviews that it has on Steam, it's very positive reviews.
That's because that's the sickos that would actually buy Shenmue. Like, no one's going to buy Shenmue and leave a bad review because no one's going to buy Shenmue without knowing that they already liked Shenmue.
The first review of the most helpful review, the number one review on Steam, Shenmue is one of the most engrossing and interesting games I've ever played. However, it's not recommended. This negative review is specifically for the PC port. This is not how the game should be experienced. I'll explain why, blah, blah, blah. But there's an extensive video on the subject. I think they're just trying to self-promote. But, it's their negative review on it is, well, the port sucks, but the game is fantastic.
Which means they played the game in 2000 also.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like Droo is not wrong. I have not heard many people that like played Shenmue for the first time in the last decade that like think highly of it. But I think people that played it 20 years ago like definitely have a nostalgia for it and realize that kind of like Final Fantasy, Resident Evil 4. Like by what you said, like Resident Evil 4 by like today's standards, not great. But by 2005 standards, like really like did a lot to change the
Yeah,
Oh.
I loved Resident Evil 4. I thought it was an absolutely amazing game back when it first came out. I played the hell out of it. I played it a lot. I thought it had a lot of awesome mechanics and made great changes to the Resident Evil franchise back then. But replaying it now, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's not that scary. It's not very, like, survival horror-y, and it feels just like an arena shooter to me. Because that's really what the game turned into, is you go into this room, you kill everything, and then you can go forward. There weren't a lot of puzzles, there weren't a lot of actual, like, things that made me think it was Resident Evil. But it did a lot of good for the Resident Evil series. Just because a game does good doesn't mean it's good. You can still base something off of something that was bad. Because it was innovative.
Also, the very next review on the Steam reviews, recommends the game, first sentence, an oldie that's actually a very bad game. It's the first sentence. Recommend it, but also say that it's a very bad game immediately.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the thing, is like, you can recognize something 20 years later is like not good, and like still be like, but you know, like it's kind of set the ground for like the way storytelling in games like shaped in like the early 2000s. Because like everything I know about Shenmue and like what I've seen of it, like, because I never owned a Dreamcast, like, it was not an exciting game by any means, but like it did stuff that like games like still kind of do in one way or another today. It's just done much better today because they've had 20 years to like, that was a good idea, but let's actually make it work.
Yeah.
But Rich, do you want to talk a little bit about Tattletail?
Yeah, so Tattletail is an indie spooky game, indie horror game. I don't even remember who made it. Let me find it in my Steam list real quick, because I wanna push that. It's developed by Waygetter Electronics, published by Little Flag Software. I don't know if you guys know anything from them. However, it is a small indie horror game released back in December of 2016. Basically, you play as a little kid. It's 1998, and Christmas is in 5 days. And you know where your mom hides your Christmas
And this
gifts.
is a horror game, you said?
This is a horror game.
Jesus, does your mom hunt you down and murder you for finding the Christmas presents?
No. But you know where your mom hides your Christmas gifts. So you actually go, you wait until your mom goes to sleep, and then you go and you open your Christmas gifts, and you play with this little toy that you got called a Tattletail. Basically a Furby is what it is. And it eats, you need to groom it, you need to feed it, you need to charge its batteries, all throughout playing this game. And this game takes place over the course of December 20th through the 25th. And each level is you playing with your toy, going to bed. And then the next day, your toy actually got out of its trapping. And so you uncover the Mama toy, which is a bigger version of the Tattletail toy, that basically starts haunting you. And so you need to, it's more of an atmospheric horror than it is anything else, because you know where Mama is, and as long as you don't get too close to Mama, or you don't know where Mama is, but you can easily find her by finding her red eyes. As long as you don't get too close to Mama, if you just stand still, she'll eventually run away. But if you make noise, she'll come at you and she'll attack you. The horror part is you have to manage Tattletail's grooming meter and hunger meter. So if Tattletail gets too hungry, it starts shouting, I'm hungry, feed me. And when it's shouting, feed me, Mama's gonna come at you, because Mama's gonna see you and it's gonna come at you. So you have to, like, make sure that you're keeping track on its hunger, grooming, and battery meter, while also, like, not making too much noise running around the house, or the battery you have is, or not battery, the flashlight you have is one of those, like, old school ones where you have to shake in order to charge it. And so, like, that makes noise as you're shaking it. And it's a very interesting, kind of spooky game where, like, at one point there's, like, several other Tattletails in your house, and they're playing hide and seek. So you go up to one and you activate it while you're holding yours, and it's like no peeking, and when you turn around, you turn back, it's gone. and the game just tells you survive for 30 seconds, survive for a minute, survive for a minute and a half. And all this time you're like watching Tattletail's meters drop, listening for Mama. Tattletail's like, I love you, and making all the Furby noises that it makes. It's ridiculous. It was good though. It was fun. It was silly.
It sounds kind of short too, so like
I got 10 out of 11 trophies in under 2 hours.
Nice. So it's a good stream game then too.
Yeah, and the only reason I didn't get I beat the game in about an hour. I beat the main game in about an hour. It unlocked another part. I beat that. I then, in like maybe 20 minutes, a half hour, I then spent the next half hour or so going back through some of the levels and finding all of the collectibles you can find to get the best ending. And then the last thing I didn't get, the last achievement I didn't get, is you're supposed to get, there's a phone in your kitchen, which, if you answer, it's just, you get, like, feedback noise and stuff like that. And the game even gives you a hint, like, don't answer the phone. But on my second playthrough, like, doing some of, like, the earlier levels to get all the collectibles I missed, I answered the phone. And, I think that might have messed up getting the final achievement. And I might have to restart the game from the beginning and play through it all just to get the final achievement, because you have to answer the phone.
Oh, that sucks.
You have to answer the phone on Christmas morning, like Christmas Eve night, Christmas Day morning, after like the final encounter with Mama. The phone will ring and you have to answer it. And I did that like 3 times and the phone never rang after the first time. And I didn't know that was a thing. So I was just like, all right, I don't care anymore. But yeah, it's a quick game. It's fun. It's a little spooky. If you're easily scared, it's going to be something you're going to just get so scared on. For me, like, I was talking about this on stream, when it comes to horror games, like, for me, it's jump scares. I need jump scares. Monsters and things like that don't scare me too much. Like, yeah, the atmosphere will get me a little bit, but I need those jump scares, which will really scare me. And when a game mechanic like this, where it's like, Mama only comes at you when you make noise, whether she can see you or not, it's if you make noise is when she'll attack you. It makes it too easy of a game mechanic for me to where I'm just like, all right, well, just don't move. Just wait until she moves. Like, I'm not trying to speedrun this or anything. So maybe speedrunning might be a little bit more intense, but like, even speedrunners will memorize the floor plan. So like, they wouldn't even need the flashlight on or anything like that.
Okay.
That
sounds like it could actually be kind of a cool game.
It was, and it's only $5. So I like,
which even better.
Yeah, like and on top of that, I got it on sale for like 50% off. So it was like $2.50. Like, it was totally worth it. I wanted, because I have sub rewards based on I schedule my month based on how many subs we got, and so I still have to do a retro stream this month. But if we get 5 subscriptions on Twitch, we'll do a retro stream. If we do 10, we'll do a spooky stream. And so, like, I wanted to do a Christmas-themed spooky stream once I found out that we had 12 subs. So that's what we're doing. I'm totally gonna do in February. I am totally gonna do the Dead by Daylight dating game.
Nice.
For my spooky stream, just because it's great, and it's still labeled as horror. So, like, maybe it still has some spooky horror aspects to it, but that'll be my spooky stream on Valentine's Day. But yeah, the next spooky game I'm thinking of getting, when it's relatively cheap, is going to be Don't Scream. But Tattletail is great.
Nice.
If you want to play something fun and quick, or you want to introduce like if you wanted to get your wife something spooky, or have her play something spooky, have her play Tattletail. Like I said, it's $5. It's pretty cheap. And it's short, so it's fun. But yeah, I want to get Don't Scream though. That's my next spooky game I'm looking into getting. Have you heard of that one? Have either of you heard of it?
What was the name again?
Don't Scream.
Nope.
No.
So, it's basically, you think of it like sort of like found footage Blair Witch type of thing, where you are somebody with a camcorder and you're walking through the woods. If you stop moving, it's like you paused the camcorder. It's like you paused what you're watching, and the time will stop. The goal of the game is to survive 18 minutes without you physically screaming. or getting scared, and you have to have a microphone on. So
Okay.
so it connects to your mic, and you have to walk around. If you stop walking, the timer stops counting. So you need to keep walking and moving around and exploring. And if something happens and you make too high of a noise, too loud of a noise, something comes out and kills you.
So this is like you have to play this late at night with like your lights off.
Yeah, like you have to play this is like a Slender Man type shit. Like you have to be ready to be spooked for this thing.
But like ideally also you don't want to be spooked.
Exactly. Like I mean that's the point of the game. And so like you can actually set it to where like maybe if I were streaming I'd be like I wouldn't be able to talk if I were playing this game on stream, but I definitely want to play this game. Or
that would be weird because like you want to be careful not to make too much noise because like if you just happen to say something in a higher pitched voice, it might like trigger it.
So like I might even try to do some sort of YouTube video series maybe in October with this, where like I'll still film myself as if I'm streaming instead of just the Let's Play viewing where it's just the game. It'll be like me and my camera, or the game and my camera, and like try this out as like a Let's Play or something. But
and you could probably get creative with it that way too, because you might be able to do like a night vision sort of look, so that you can have like the lights off and have it be a little spookier.
Yeah. I mean, there's people playing it on stream. I just don't know how well it goes out with them playing it on stream. Like I don't know if they chat or what, or if they have a mod taking care of chat.
I assume they would.
But yeah, that game I've heard it came out at the end of October, and it's just been like I'm like this is a fantastic idea. I want to play this. I want to try this.
Yeah, like and like that could actually be like a cool like video like series.
Yeah, like how long does it take for me to survive? Don't scream, and like do I do it in one shot, or can I never do it at all? Like that's the question at this point. But then it's like if I win Don't Scream for the first time, that's kind of lame. And like probably what I would end up doing to record it is I would like record, which I can't get my Steam information to show on Twitch. I'd have to figure that, or to show on OBS. I'd have to figure that out. But I'd have to figure out a way to show like, hey guys, just so you know, like I have not loaded this game at all. So this is my first time playing. If I beat it in one, sorry, it's not an exciting video. But otherwise, let's have some fun and load it up for the first time.
Yeah, and at least that's one of those, if you're doing like videos versus streams, you can kind of like, you can do it, record yourself, and then like go back and watch it, be like, this actually doesn't work. Like,
yeah.
And like, no, right from there. It's like, okay, the way that I did this doesn't work. This isn't going to be an interesting video, and either pivot or like don't do it at all, and like just make it like a game you play for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to, if it were to not work on a video, then it would just straight up be a stream game or something. But honestly, the way I'm thinking is I would just film myself for a half hour and then post it. It would be an uncut video, honestly, if I were to do this.
Which would make sense. Like depending on how long it goes for, like if for some reason it was like 3 hours, then like you probably want to do a little bit of trimming, but
well, yeah. I mean, it's 18 minutes per run, maximum 18 minutes per run. So I just play for
right.
a half.
Yeah,
I play either until I survive or play for a half hour, and then just literally just cut together an intro and an outro and post it up. Like this is a type of game where it's like you can't do cuts because like that would end up being like, oh, you're cutting to a different playthrough. You actually did get scared there. You didn't actually survive. Like the point of the video would just be watching them play it live.
Yeah, that is actually true. That is a good point. But anything else you want to say about Tattletail?
Tattletail was silly. I don't think there's any chance of them making a sequel. I think there was like old talks of them doing a sequel or something to it. But Waygetter Electronics only has one game under their belt, and that was Tattletail. And their publisher, Little Flag Software, only has one game under their belt, and that was Tattletail. So I don't think we're going to get another one. But it was great. You should definitely, if you're into spooky games, check it out.
Good to know. So over the last like 2 months, I've read this series called The Gentleman Bastards. It's like a fantasy series, but it's about thieves. And their group, they call themselves the Gentleman Bastards. So it's supposed to be like 7 books, but the author has not released one in like 10 years. So like he's definitely hitting that like George R. R. Martin gap of like saying he's working on a book, but like not actually releasing a book.
Yeah.
But so here, 3 of them have been released. The first one is called The Lies of Locke Lamora, and Locke Lamora is one of the titular gentleman bastards. He's sort of the brains of the operation. And that the first book is definitely more of a heist. So it's the way that they tell the story in all 3 books is a split of a chapter, which is like the current day what goings on, and then an interlude after the chapter that is a flashback of some sort. So in book 1, it's a flashback to Locke as a child, going from being like an orphan on the street to being part of this basically gang of children that steal for like an adult, to then being sold to this character called Chains that pretends to be a priest but is really a thief and is training these other children how to be thieves as well. And it's very funny. Like Locke is just such a little shit that the guy who runs like the big group of kids is like, I can't deal with you. I'm going to sell you to this guy, and he'll either fucking make something of you or kill you or sell you to somebody else. I don't care. But like, you're like 8 years old and I can't deal with you till you're an adult. Like, so fuck off. So like all the interludes are kind of like, you're kind of seeing him sort of like form bonds with the characters that he is then an adult with in like the main story, and them planning this whole big plot to basically steal a bunch of money from some rich people, by making them think that they are like rich businessmen from another country that is kind of going through some shit, and they're basically looking to offload a bunch of imported goods from their country, and they want to work directly with these rich people to do it. But they're going to need a bunch of money in order to pull it off. To then actually also impersonating like government assassins, claiming that the 2 people that they are pretending to be are not actually who they're pretending to be, but encouraging the rich people, go along with it, give them what they want. We, the government, will reimburse you after we catch them. So it's almost like an Ocean's 11 sort of setup, but all of that gets like shown in the first like 3 or 4 chapters. So like very early on, you find out that they're kind of doing like a double-sided like heist story. And then everything just goes to shit from there. Like different people in seats of power are kind of like out to get them without even realizing that they're also trying to pull this job at the same time. So like they keep getting wrapped up in like more and more layers of just bad things. And it was a really interesting like fantasy story because there's little to no magic in it. But it's got like a lot of like found family vibes and like friendship between like these adults that like basically grew up as siblings. So like they have that like they're kind of mean and shitty to each other, but they also like whenever things go down, like they have each other's back. Like the 2 main people are Locke and John. And there's a flashback scene where Locke is kind of like, he's not a fighter. And there's like another kid from like another gang that basically just keeps beating the shit out of him. And at one point he just kind of like comes up with a plan where he literally ties himself to the kid. And like the kid just keeps beating him. And he's like, I don't know why you tied yourself to me, like, now you can't get away. And he's like, I don't need to get away, I just need to keep you here until John shows up. And then, like, his friend, like, the kid looks behind him, and, like, his friend is, like, literally coming in on a boat, and he is the bigger of the kids, and is just going to pound him into the dirt. You're fine. But, like, from that, so, like, that book ends, everything kind of goes to shit for them. It goes into a sequel where they go to a different city. They're trying to, like, pull a different scam that they put like 2 years into. And then they get blackmailed by somebody completely uninvolved with it and get turned into fucking unwilling pirates for like 3/4 of a book. All while potentially poisoned. And it's just, it's like every one of these books sort of like adds on to them getting just, they do some, like they're always very clever and they have like these like really interesting like plots and stuff that they're doing like for their thievery and their cons. And it's not so much that those things fall apart, it's like something else falls apart and ruins their plan, like completely unrelated to it. And then by the third book, they somehow get roped into rigging an election, which is just the weirdest set of circumstances. And the way that like the setup for it is there are two different parties. There's basically it's not that different from like Democrats and Republicans. Like one of them is a very traditionalist party and the other one is a very like modern wants a bunch of change party. And both parties can't directly interfere with the elections. But there's no rule that they can't hire people that are not a member of them to interfere with the elections. So they both do that. They both hire people basically to rig and do shady shit to get the election to come into their favor. And it's literally a game to them. Like they do it every 5 years. Mm-hmm. And it sounds very much like the American political system.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
But yeah, so like by the end of it, it's just like their lives have like fallen apart and been rebuilt like 4 different times. And all the while, like in every book, you're getting these flashbacks to things that happened before. Like the second book, you're actually getting flashbacks to like the year or two between the first book and the second book. But then when you get to the third book, it's more flashbacks to like when they're younger and like teenagers and like the stuff they had to do to basically become like the thieves that they are today. And like I just thought all of that stuff was really interesting because rather than them being in like the city that they were brought up in, they all get sent away for being a pain in their like teachers' asses. He's just like, I can't deal with you guys anymore, so you're all going to go to this city and like work for this guy for like 6 months to a year. Like you're going to go do this and then maybe I'll let you come back. Mm-hmm. And it's just like it's a series of misadventures from there, and I really enjoyed it. The books aren't super long either. They're like 400 or 500 pages each.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's like, again, it's been a while. Like the first one came out in 2000, I think it was like 2006, 2009, and like 2012. So it's been quite a while since any of them have come out. But they're all very good reads, and I would highly recommend them.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds interesting. Sounds fun.
It was. And they're like those books where, as interesting as they were, like they weren't like I want to rush through them either. Like I enjoyed like taking my time with them, which is why like I basically read like one a month. Mm-hmm. And it was a good time. And actually, hang on 1 second.
What are we hanging on to?
Hang on to your seats.
Hold on to your butts.
All right. So I wanted to actually grab the book real quick because there's actually a line at the very end that is just, it kind of sums up the book really well. I just need to find the last page. I hate when books like add those like here's a few pages from like the next book. Mm-hmm. I grabbed the right one. This is just thrilling. I know for everybody listening.
You're gonna cut it all out if you didn't talk.
I mean, that's true.
I was at one point while you were stepping away to get the book, I was like, I should just like say farts or something right now while it's quiet because he's gonna cut the silence and not know this. So just in the middle of the podcast is gonna be me saying like farts. Just you're like, hold on, farts, and then you're back because you're just gonna get rid of all the silence.
Yeah, I mean, yes. All right. So this is kind of like the final interlude. That's a flashback to Locke as a child. After just everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. It's 2 paragraphs. I'm just going to read it. Father Chain sat on the roof of the house of Perlandro, staring down at the astonishingly arrogant 14-year-old that had grown out of the little orphan he'd purchased so many years before from the thief maker of Shades Hill. Someday, Locke Lamora, he said, someday you're going to fuck up so magnificently, so ambitiously, so overwhelmingly that the sky will light up and the moons will spin and the gods themselves will shit comets with glee. And I just hope I'm still around to see it. And that is probably one of my favorite quotes out of a book.
Did I hear you say shit comets with glee?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
I heard that. I was listening. I promise.
Yeah, like the not the whole book, but like a lot of the stuff that both Chain says and that Locke says, like they're both very snarky. So like it's one of those books where you laugh a lot and it's like very quotable. Like there's a lot of really good lines in it. But yeah, that's all. Either you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
No, not really.
Well, what the fuck? Why not?
But
How's your PFL team?
One's doing good, one's not doing so good, but it's early. I'm only 3 games in with each, so.
Have you won all 3 games with the team that's doing well?
No, I'm 2-1. I should have won the other one, but
Somebody cheated, is what you're saying.
pretty much.
Fire them.
The rules really are what cheated me.
Rewrite the rules.
I try. No one wants to agree to the rule I want to change.
What? I'm curious now. What rule is it, and what do you want to change about it?
All right, so in the PFL, when you're on defense and someone throws a pass, depending on the defense you're on, you can roll a thing that we call a snuff, where essentially you would knock the pass away. That if they caught it for no matter how many yards, it's now an incomplete pass. Also, if they happen to throw an interception and you rolled a snuff, oh, sorry, your guy dropped it. But somehow you don't snuff it if they fumble on a catch. It's like, how does this make sense? How could they fumble if they never caught the ball?
Because isn't that a fumble? Is catching the ball and then dropping it?
But they would
So
have to.
the snuff is the fumble.
No, the snuff means my defender knocked the ball away and the receiver never touched the ball. The pass was defended. So how do you catch it, be able to run yards, and then fumble? And I got
Because in this instance, the snuff means that you knocked it out of his hands.
right before he ever got possession, though. It's an incomplete pass, not a catch and fumble.
Then why isn't it just called incomplete pass and not snuff?
Well,
snuff
because it's the act of the defender making the pass incomplete, as opposed to the offense on the pass could just roll an incomplete pass, and it's like, okay, it was never caught. Doesn't matter what the defense did; they didn't catch it. It's like a throw that went over their heads, or whatever. A McNabb special where he threw it 4 yards short of the receiver.
So what I'm hearing is, if you roll an interception and a snuff, and the rule is that it should be snuffed, you should change the rule to where it's an interception. It shouldn't be a snuff, because you're to me, I when I hear this rule, like, I know what you're saying. Like, the idea of the snuff is that you knocked it out, you stopped the ball from reaching the player. But to me, allowing it at with fumbles just means like, oh, you didn't stop the ball, but you did knock it out of their hands and you caused the fumble, and then you fumbled the ball and got it and whatnot. To me, like, the snuff rule that should be changed is not allowing it for interceptions. You should allow it. It's like, if an interception happens with a snuff, you should get the interception. You shouldn't get the snuff. Or you should get the snuff and the interception, because your defender will knock it out of the sky. And here we go. Your defender knocks it out of the air, but it lands into a different receiver's hands, and then they drop it, and that's how the fumble works.
I mean, like, there is a logic to allowing it when, or, the snuff overruling the offense rolling an interception. Like, I get it. It's in my head, I can at least picture it. It's like the guy tried to intercept it, but just couldn't make the catch. It not overruling a fumble has never ever made sense to me, and I seem to be the one that gets screwed by it the most. Like, I snuffed this pass that was fumbled, but no, fumble overrules and guy recovers the fumble for a touchdown. It's like, this doesn't make sense.
Well, have you considered being better?
I was as good as possible. I was on the right defense and rolled the right number. I needed to. I literally did everything I should have. But no, the rules fucked me.
But like, if you were the defender and they fumbled, doesn't that mean you get the ball anyway?
No, they get the chance. You then roll to see who recovers it. It's not like fumbles. The offense recovers fumbles all the time. Fumbles just mean the ball got onto the ground. So
I know, but you're playing a board game. To me, I think if which, yeah, I guess it makes sense. You have a roll off with it. See, then the snuff should at least aid to you receiving the fumble. Like, to me, the snuff should help the defender when it comes to responding to that. So, like, if they roll an interception and you snuff, then you should actually catch that interception and maybe get extra yards on top of it, as opposed to not getting that interception. If they fumble the ball, then you should get extra dice to roll for the fumble to receive it, because you're the snuff caused the fumble. In my the way it should work, the snuff was like, bat it down, out of their hands, and then you cause the fumble. You should get those extra dice to at least try to get it back, so the dice is on your side. Like, that's the way I see it. Like, the snuff should be 100% an advantage to the player, to the defender, and not a disadvantage to the defender. Because when I hear, like, you're doing something to stop the play of the game, but the offense rolled a interception, then it's like, well, I accidentally rolled a snuff. Like, I didn't want to. If I knew I was going to intercept the ball, I wasn't going to knock it out of the air. I was going to intercept the ball. But, like, I could turn that snuff into an interception where instead of me knocking it out of the ball, I jump up and grab it, and I get it not at the distance that they were throwing it at. I get it at the line of scrimmage or something like that.
Yeah.
That's where, like, I'm like, the snuff sounds like a disadvantage more so than an advantage.
No, I mean, it's an advantage the majority of the time. The only time, like, yes, it sucks if you snuff an int, but at the same time, if your defensive chart happens to have an interception on it, and you roll the interception and they rolled an incomplete on their side, you do intercept the ball. So it's not all, like, it's a lot. So you don't always get screwed, but at the very least, in my head, I can visualize times where players should have had an interception but just didn't catch it, and in my head, that's what happens when you roll a snuff and the offense rolled the interception. It's like, hit your defender in the hands, but that's why he's a defensive back and not a wide receiver. He just fucking couldn't catch it. Whereas, like, my brain just does not conceptualize how they can still catch it and fumble if you stopped the pass from getting to the receiver. Also, maybe I shouldn't have fumbled the opening kickoff at my own 1 yard line and given up a touchdown immediately, and maybe I also still would have won, but I still say I should have at least gotten that snuff fumble.
What I think is there needs to be official rules to this PFL, and not just rules that your dad got out of a magazine 40 years ago.
Well, I mean, he didn't get it out of a magazine. He got it, like, it is the rules from the game, and I just think that one rule makes no sense.
Wait, so this is there's a legitimate, like, rules for it? Yeah. It's not stuff that you guys just came up with?
Yeah, no. It's the original game. It was called Sports Illustrated Pro Football, then became Pay Dirt. I want to say the second year it was published. Eventually, they also made a college football version called Bowl Bound, which had slightly different rules because college football has slightly different rules. But
what's it mean now?
Huh?
What does the PFL stand for now?
Oh, I mean, the PFL is the league my dad created around the original game.
Oh. So what's the actual game called now?
I mean, there is a dude. So the game hasn't officially been made for like 40 years. I would say they stopped actually making it in the 80s.
So you legitimately have, like, the rules from 40 years ago?
Yes. I mean, we've changed a whole lot of the rules from the original game. But, like, the main thing we have not changed is the priority chart, like the what overrules what, which is where fumbles overrule a snuff on defense. But like, that stuff changed a little bit in future versions of the game as they tweaked how the game worked, ruined it in most of my opinion. But there's a guy who does, like, actively make new charts, and he calls it data-driven football.
Okay. That actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah, because, I mean, that is how the game essentially was designed, was the people from Sports Illustrated and I think it was McGraw-Hill made the original game, like, going through the actual NFL season, seeing what teams did, dividing the plays into 9 essential categories of plays, and then plotting out the statistics into a way that made sense based on the percentages of what you can roll on the dice to make it make sense as a football game.
I just threw a thing in. Is this in the chat? Is this the game?
Uh,
The Discord chat, I should say.
let's see. Yes.
Okay. I thought it looked familiar, but I'm also remembering something from 25 years ago, 30 years ago. It's only $100. It's only $100. That is that is cheaper than modern board games.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, I vaguely remember seeing this like at your house.
yeah, we had that version, and then I mean, we used those dice probably back then when you saw it. We now have like sets of plastic dice too. I mean, your dad won 2 championships.
Yeah, well, that's why. Like, I remember my dad playing it when like we were in elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
But that was also 30 years ago. So
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I actually didn't realize it was like a legitimate game. I thought it was. I legitimately thought it was just something like that your dad and like his friends came up with.
Nope. I mean,
well, I'm
we've
less
made
impressed
new
now.
teams and stuff, but yeah. I mean, he's been running this league for like 40, probably like 40 something years.
Jesus, it's a long time.
Yeah. I recently did a thing where I started to. He still has a lot of the stat sheets going way back, and I've started to try to scan and save as much of the info as I can.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
guess what? Paper doesn't last a whole hell of a long time, especially not in less than ideal conditions.
I was gonna say, like, you can make it last a long time, but most people don't.
Yeah.
Well, are you guys ready to get wrapped up for this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So next week we're going to be watching Gremlins for our book club for a little holiday movie. The 1984 classic Christmas film. But other than that, if you would like to find more of our content, you can head over to www.one-quest.com. You can also help us out by supporting us at patreon.com/onequest. If you can't support us there with your dollars, though, you can go to your favorite podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Rate us, review us, subscribe to us. All of it helps. You can also find us on social media. We are at facebook.com/onequestonline or at @1_quest on Instagram and Twitter. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/onequestvideo, and you can always send us an email to social@one-quest.com. Rich, what does your streaming schedule look like?
Twitch.tv/b_walnuts with video game streaming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Baldur's Gate and Sea of Thieves. Like, I don't even have to look ahead to figure it out or anything. I know that's just where I'm sitting. Probably next week because of Christmas and New Year's Eve. Schedule might be a little wonky, but probably gonna do might do a morning cozy retro stream with you guys Christmas morning to hang out with anyone who has no one to spend time with on Christmas morning. But yeah,
Nice.
Come hang out. Might. I don't really know yet. I haven't figured it out what I'm doing.
Yeah. So, nice idea. But with that, we will be back next week with something else to talk about. Thanks for listening. Bye.
See you.
Bye.